Coming to you from the Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. I don't really know how this podcast is going to go, to be honest. I'm just angry. I'm hurt. I'm upset because the Vancouver Canucks, it really feels like they just have no direction, no leadership, no sense of how to create a winning hockey culture. And the reason why I say that so directly and so off the cuff to start off this episode is it really makes me angry how much real life can interfere with the greatness of sports sometimes. So I've said before on this podcast, and I'll say it again, I think sports saved my life. I'll tell that story, I don't know, one day, but sports are my favorite thing ever. I have a sports podcast. I spend pretty much all of my life thinking about consuming sports. I play a lot of golf. Just in general, my lifestyle is surrounded around these kind of activities. And obviously, these professional leagues that we all love watching so much. And the reason why sports are so awesome is because, along with music and movies, it's the greatest form of escapism a human can experience, maybe. But, like, I'm talking about things to just watch and consume. You're literally transported into a different world where superhumans either, hit each other for 10 yards or shoot the basketball from 45 feet and dunk on top of each other. Oh, look, that guy is skating at 30 kilometers an hour and people are ripping 100-mile-an-hour slap shots. Like, it's such a great form of just enjoyment. And obviously, not even just watching them, like, I don't have to get into how fun playing sports is. It's the most euphoric experience I think you can experience in life. And that doesn't feel like too much to me. And the reason why this story made me so angry, to put this all, in a bow, is when real life and business people and people who really make the world go round on a day-to-day basis in terms of politics or money, when they interfere and pop my sports bubble, I get really upset. I get really, really upset. And I'm not talking about politics getting involved in sports like they were in the Four Nations. That was just awesome. Like, that was just a culture fire starter that made the games feel so much more intense. It felt like more of a backdrop to the main stage that was the hockey game. The difference between that and what Francesco Aquilini did yesterday is his involvement in this team was not the backbone. It was not a boost. His involvement had to do with thinking about this Vancouver Canucks organization like a business, which it is. I mean, obviously, the Vancouver Canucks brand makes a lot of money. They sell jerseys, they are a franchise, they are a business. But a sports franchise is unlike any business because, unlike in business, you're not trying to be the best all the time. There's times where you have to take a step back to take a step forward. And in business, this is true as well. But in business is always just a constant gas pedal, which I think Aquilini is enforcing on this team because Rick Dollywall, personal friend of the show, before this deadline said about Francesco Aquilini, he's got a big say, end quote. Whether you like it or not, he's got a big say in what happens this week. And here's the big time quote from this. He would like to make the playoffs. So I don't even know where to start here. I want to use the example that was set the same day that the Canucks stalled out their organization, proving that their whole entire franchise philosophy is screw it, send that team out on the ice. The issue that happens with this is he wants to make the playoffs so he can make some money for playoff tickets. Like, that's really what it is. Those tickets in Vancouver are expensive. I'm talking like $600 plus for the nosebleeds, the merch that's generated through that playoff merch, that the even like the away games, they open up the arena and send people into there so we can support the team and gather around, and I had a lot of fun at those viewing parties. But making the playoffs is a huge financial boost for the Canucks. There's no doubt about it. I don't care if they play 2 games at home, which is definitely what's going to happen when they make the playoffs, if and when they make the playoffs, by the way. They're almost assuredly not going to get a third home game. But it doesn't matter because you're going to make a couple quadrillion dollars off of those 2 games, and that's a successful season for you. But what makes it so frustrating, this mindset, is seeing what happened to Boston the exact same day. Like, Boston is in pretty much the exact same spot the Canucks are in. Not now, but going into the deadline. Kind of just in no man's land. Like, yeah, you're probably going to make the playoffs, but once you make it there, you probably don't have a chance to do anything really. And in the grand scheme of things, making the playoffs for one round, getting a worse draft pick, it just doesn't have any value in terms of the future of your franchise. So what do you do in that circumstance? You blow the damn team up. You send away your veterans. You collect picks. You collect assets. You make sure none of your UFAs are going to walk for nothing. Carlo, gone. Marchand, captain of our team, leader of the franchise. This guy is Mr. Boston Bruin. He's the identity of the Boston Bruins, that hated rat kind of vibe that they've given off for the past decade plus stems from him. And they said bye-bye because they knew this is what we need to do. We're not good enough to make a push for a Stanley Cup this year. So let's make sure we're good enough to do that in the future. Because isn't that the goal, to win a Stanley Cup in this league? Shouldn't that be the end means that every GM, owner, coach is gazing their eyes towards? Not 2 playoff games in Rogers Arena. Are you kidding me? And then what is so hard is when an owner is so dumb, it trickles down the power line. So now your general manager has to, face the media and address these dumb decisions that clearly came from above his head, but he has to act like they're his own. And then when you act like a stupid idea is your idea, you look stupid. And that's exactly what he looked like yesterday, Patrick Alvin. And listen, he's not a stupid guy. I think he's done a really good job since he's been here, actually. But he looked on that interview like someone who was just in the back seat all day and said, basically, we didn't get good enough offers for our guys. The stuff that was out there that we could have gotten wasn't quite what we were looking for. So we just stayed put. And obviously, it was in a lot more really bad detail. I don't know why you would ever think it was a good idea to shout out the fact that Besser didn't get much attraction on the market. He's your asset. Like, again, back to business. If I have a stock, like, is it in my best interest if I have some kind of public personality to talk negatively about the stock that I own? Brock Besser is still on the Canucks. They're still trying to re-sign him so they don't lose him for nothing. And now he sees his GM saying, "Oh yeah, don't worry, he was out there. We just didn't get the price for him." Oh my gosh. What a joke of an organization. Like, this really, really sucks. Because these Vancouver fans, man, gosh, they're passionate. Gosh, they love this team. And it's so frustrating because, again, business interfering with sports, this guy isn't going anywhere. He can't be fired for poor performance. He can't be put in front of the media. He can't be taken to task about any of his decisions because he has the money. And because he has the money, our hockey team has to suck forever. Like, that's not fun. I don't know if what I'm saying right now is making a whole lot of sense to you guys, but it definitely makes sense to me. You have a prime example of a team that's been wildly successful over the last 15 years. Beat you in the Stanley Cup Finals in 2011, made it to another cup final, constantly in the conference finals. They kicked the boot on this season and said, "You know what? We're not good enough. This Canucks team is not good enough to win a playoff round." Like, they're drawing dead against Winnipeg or whoever they end up playing in this first round. They are going to get killed. And it doesn't matter because as long as we get those 2 playoff home games, oh baby, that's a heck of a season. Again, Dollywall, my guy, saying this about Aquilini, he would like to make the playoffs. Man, that hurts because, again, can't be fired, can't be picked apart. Owner syndrome, I guess. It is what it is. I'm frustrated as a Canucks fan. I would have liked us to sell pretty much everybody. I was very vocal about that before the deadline. I would have liked to see not only what we got for Susie, but I would have liked to see a potential Demko trade. I would have liked to see, obviously, Besser. You can name a bunch of other guys who teams would just jump on having on their squad for a playoff run. Up at forward, Suter looked like he was out the door for a while, but then he was fine. Bluger, like these guys who aren't pieces you want to move. I'm not saying you don't want to move into the future with them. That's not fair. But in this position where you're not a cup contender, these are people you can get real assets for and real stuff to build for a potential future Stanley Cup contention. And that's not an oversimplification. That's how the league works. But it's not how business works, so I guess we're just toast. Anyways, as always, please let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I love talking about sports, so leave some in that comment section. I'll be able to reply to you. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed what you heard. Please subscribe. Spit Sports Show just over 400 subscribers. Big things happening. And as always, I will see you all in the next one. Peace out. Love you guys.